Hello, Simena. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I know you are an environmental engineer. That's why I want to ask you some questions.
Yes, tell me.
Okay. Which, which are the main environmental problems of Peru?
Yes, we have actually a lot of problems regarding the environment. I would say that the main environmental problem that we have is all the amount of wastes that we produce every day. We are boarding the 3 million tons of wastes in Lima, just in Lima, and we don't have landfills to put all this amount of wastes. So at the end, everything goes to the rivers or the sea, and it's also a health problem for all the cities that we have in Peru. So I think this is the top for me, and then we have also the pollution. In all the streets, we have the pollution of the transport sector. We use diesel and we use gasoline for the transport, and we have really old transportation system. We have a very bad transportation system, so that produces a lot of CO2 to the environment. Another thing is that we are still using some fossil fuels for producing electricity in our energy matrix. So we have natural gas as one of our main sources. In terms of electricity generation, it's not the most. It doesn't have the most pollution. If we compare it with coal or if we compare it with diesel, but still we don't have a really clean matrix for producing electricity. So yeah, I would say that those are one of the main problems. The other one is the water treatment system. We don't have many of these plants for treating all the amount of sewage that we have in the cities. So at the end, of course, all this sewage goes to rivers and goes to the sea, and yes, it's really bad.
Okay. How do you think we can solve them?
In terms of all the wastes, we need to work a lot with all the municipalities that we have in the country. So these municipalities are in charge of all the management of the wastes, and they need to have a proper system for having enough money to do all this management and for doing an appropriate disposal of the wastes. And I think they need a lot of also support about the Ministry of Environment. Another thing is trying to promote that in all these municipalities and in the governments, the regional governments, to do big projects for the treatment of the water and also for the treatment of the wastes. And we can also, it's not about putting a landfill, it's also trying to use properly all the wastes, because we can produce energy from the wastes, we can produce compost, we can do other things, trying to use all these wastes, because the wastes are actually a resource that we have, a biomass resource. And then what else we can do? We can try to promote more renewable energy resources for the energy matrix, and this needs to have a change in the regulations that we have right now. We need to change like the mindset of our government in terms of producing energy, more clean energy, and that means that we need to make decisions. And I think those are the main things we can do. Yeah.
Okay. What daily things we can do to minimize pollution?
I think that everybody can make a change in their homes. For example, here I segregate all the wastes, so I separate them in plastic, glass, carton, and paper, and things like that. And then I try to go. Sometimes I donate all these wastes, and sometimes I put them on these boxes that separate them. And what else? We can try to minimize the usage of things, because we buy a lot of things, but I think we can try to buy what we actually need, not buy a lot, and then also in terms of water, trying to use just the amount of water that we need, and for example for taking a bath or for washing our clothes and things like that. Because if we do these small things in our house, then if we multiply that by the 33 million of Peruvians that we are, then of course we can make a huge change, and for example, in terms of transportation, it's better, for example, don't drive a car by yourself, but try to be with more people in the same car, so you just use one car for transport everybody, because now we see that everybody's in one car and giving a lot of pollution just by one person. And for example, I just use public transportation, and that's much better than being all the time with your own car. I don't have a car, but if I had one, I would try to use an electric car or a hybrid, but now are a little bit expensive. And then what else you can do? Of course, trying not to be really clean, and don't put the wastes on the street, and just behave like try to do it as a part of your life. That's part of my life. For example, I don't put the wastes on the streets, of course. And if I see somebody that does it, then try to tell them that it's not good, not just for the environment, but also because everybody want to live in a place that is clean and pretty. So I would say that.
Okay, thank you, Ximena.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you for your question.